What's going on, everyone? So today we are going to talk about why the crypto fear and greed index matters now. So anyways, we're going to hop straight into this video. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Let's get into it. So as you can see, this is the crypto fear and greed index. You have the one here on Binance and you have the one here on CoinMarketCap. The one on CoinMarketCap is more in depth. So that's the one that you really want to look at when you're looking at this. Now, the crypto fear and greed index, as you can see at the current moment, both on Binance and CoinMarketCap, is currently at a 42. So it's at a neutral, almost at the bearish, almost at the fear area, right? That's pretty much what we're looking at. That's where it is right now. So yesterday it was at a 40 fear. Prices went up a little bit today, and now you see people are just getting slightly more bearish after they seen how fast it dropped. But as you can see, it did go up too, though. But after it drops like even faster, we're probably gonna end up seeing that drop. But yeah, last week our fear was at a 39. So yeah, that is crazy right now. So we are seeing that people are getting a little more confident, right, in the market. But let's talk about why this matters. So if you look over here, you can see this is the CMC Crypto Fear and Greed Index, the yellow line that turns green up here when it's extreme greed and turns red when it's extreme fear. Then you have this gray line here, which represents the Bitcoin price. And then you have the Bitcoin volume. And the Bitcoin volume is down here, represented by the volume bar down here. Okay. So as you can see back here in 2023, when crypto was down to 30K Bitcoin, what you ended up seeing was the fear and greed index actually started to come down because the price was so low and it kept dropping. It went from 30 down to 25, 26K. People just started getting very fearful. So that's what pretty much happened. But the second Bitcoin started to go up, coming here closer to 2024, that's when we started seeing things go crazy. Like when Bitcoin broke 30K and started heading towards 40, that's when you started to see the Bitcoin fear and greed index going up to extreme greed. And then look, when it hit extreme greed, it kind of maxed out in a way in December. And then as you can see here, it started to go down. People started to get a little bit more neutral, right? They started to get a little bit more neutral because the price went from 46K and it ended up dropping. So it went from 46K down to 40K down here. So that's why we seen that, well, 39K. That's why we seen the price drop. And we also seen the greed get more closer to neutral. And then as the price started to go up here inside of Bitcoin to the 10th and the 10th of March of last year, that's when we started seeing Bitcoin around 73K. And that's when we got extreme greed. So around 73K, we had extreme greed. And then you've seen that going and dropping all the way down. The greed went all the way back down to neutral because our price came and dropped all the way back down to about 60K. So that happened. And then it tried to recover. They got slightly greedy. And then it started to drop again, the price. And then that's when they started to get fearful. And then the price kept going down. So it just kept spiking. And then eventually it got down to 56K Bitcoin. And then you can see the fear here started to increase as well. So then coming into 2025, at the end of 2024, we actually ended up seeing Bitcoin taking off. So that's when we started to see Bitcoin going from 60K all the way up to 90K or 106K. And as Bitcoin did that, you can see the extreme greed started to show itself. Extreme greed. So since the greed became extreme, that's when you know it's probably time to sell. And that's exactly what happened. The price started to sell off. It started to fluctuate. And then you've seen it go from 106,000 all the way down here to about 79,000 Bitcoin. So we've seen a huge drop inside of Bitcoin pretty much. Well, all the way down to 76,000. That's what it's showing there. So by the time it hit 76,000, it was at extreme fear. And see, when we see it at extreme fear, we know that we're probably bottomed out. When we see it at extreme greed, we know that we're tapped out. So we know we're not going to go up much more when we're at extreme greed, and we know we're not going to go down much more when we're at extreme fear. So now you can see, fast forward into 2025, from April of 2025, that's when Trump did all the tariff stuff, and then it just beat up the markets, and then everybody was inside of extreme fear. So what ended up happening was everyone started to buy in here at the bottom, and then it just started to take the price all the way up. But we never reached extreme fear or extreme greed yet. So what does that mean? That means that we have more upside potential here. Even though the price for Bitcoin is extremely high, people aren't extremely greedy. People are actually slightly fearful. Actually, it's right at the neutral point and the fearful point. So people are slightly fearful here. And last week, you can see they had a fear index of 39. Right now, we're at a neutral index of 42. So if we drop just a little bit more, we're inside of the fear zone. And not only that, if we continue down a little more, then we go inside of the green zone, or inside the completely extreme fear zone. Now, this coincides with what I've been saying here inside of the crypto market. I've been noticing that Bitcoin is looking slightly bearish here on the weekly chart. If you bring up the weekly chart, you can see how bearish Bitcoin is actually looking. If you look at this, this is the percent R trend exhaustion. It's showing that the uptrend has been exhausted. The red bar here with the red down arrow shows that we are actually about to switch into a selling zone. It's going to look similar to these ones over here. So let's go ahead and bring that back and look at the waves that we've had on the percent R trend exhaustion previously. We've seen that these waves look very similar. So why would the third one not do what these two did? It's a possibility that it could. And if it does, you'll end up seeing the price drop. And what you also see over here is the MACD is also showing a bearish sign as well. So that's why I believe that there could be another pullback inside of the market. And if we continue to pull back, I have noticed this trend line, this downtrend line, and we've hit it twice, but we've broke out of it once. So what if we hit it again? I believe we will have a pullback, and our next support is at 104K. And then after 104K support, we then have 99K support. So if we pull back, we have our 104K here, then we have our 99K support. If we break 99K, then what will probably end up happening is what we are doing now inside of Bitcoin, or what we've done previously. This is a 32% drop right here. If we continue to pull back, we may drop 32% again and then have another rise, because as you can see, these two pumps right here, they look almost exactly the same. So if we pull back to the same, then we're looking at 32%, and that's about 85K Bitcoin right here if we continue our pullback. And that's the weekly chart. The weekly chart is showing some bearish signs. But then if we look at the daily chart, there's a little more noise, and we can see some bullish signs on the MACD with some green candlesticks forming up down there. And the percent R trend exhaustion looks like it wants to turn up to the upside for the daily chart on Bitcoin. So there is a possibility that Bitcoin can be a little bit bullish here, but it might have that last pullback before it takes off. And another thing that kind of shows you that is this. So can it continue to go up as it's like barely touching the fear? Yes, it could actually do that. It did it before. That was what happened back here at 100K Bitcoin in the late June. We ended up just pumping because, you know, it was at the fear, like barely fear, like kind of where we're at now. And then it started to go up to the greed area. Right now, I kind of feel like we need to go a little bit down a little bit more into extreme fear, because then that would really push this next pump higher and higher. That's what we really need to see. We need to see a little bit more fear for the markets to take off the way that they want to. So this is why the crypto fear and greed index is so important. You never want to not pay attention to it, this will literally tell you where the market is going next. If all else fails, this is what helps you. Okay. So you want to run your technical analysis here, and then you just want to come over here and look at the fundamentals of the market and see exactly what's happening behind the scenes. This will literally tell you everything. Anyways, this is all I got for you all today. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Hit the like button and subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, I'll be back with another video.